Rahubat Yeshua, as we begin the journey of NIBIRU from the Holy Tabernacle, the Holy Tablets for the HTM from Dr. Malachi York, which is a series that I personally will be reading to those who cannot read, those who don't have discernment, those who need to learn, those of the new generation, the returning souls, and more. The journey of NIBIRU, Tablet 5, 19 times 6, 114. Lo, the planet Tamat was a site used for excavating for different minerals such as plutonium, chlorine, chlorophyll, ammonia, gold, platinum, and silver. 2. As well as scanning the ocean floors for other elements that were beneficial to these beings in other planets. Tamat was also used as a hunting ground. Beings would intergalactically travel from planet to planet doing what is called planetary shopping. Some of the planets in this galaxy that were most frequently visited because life existed there in various forms. Lamu, meaning deity of war, now called Mars. Kishar, meaning foremost of the firm lands, now called Jupiter, and many others in Orions, meaning skies or heaven, the 6-star sun constellation. And Kema, meaning to be wealthy, which is the Pleiades constellation, and Aish, plowman, to lend aid to help. Arcturus, as well as Clariton and Clarion, meaning clear, just to name a few. The boundless universe are filled with all kinds of life forms. One of these routes, the planet craft NIBIRU, was making a routine trip, which was then on an orbit that took 1,004 short of an equinox of Earth time, which was a 25,920 years called AMS, in search of other planets that were rich in natural resources and minerals to take back to the planets. They came from, and it crashed. This great planet-sized ship, NIBIRU, came nearer to your solar system, traveling at the speed of light at 186,272 feet per second. It came from Ilium, the 19th galaxy, also called the Great Galaxy, known as the place on high, en route through the stars that took 25,920 years. 13. This great ship NIBIRU, as it was later known, was a mothership, and NIBIRU held 12 smaller ships that were to be launched out from it. When NIBIRU reached its destination, NIBIRU was equipped with 4 separate atmospheres and 4 separate magnetic poles. NIBIRU had a crystal dome giving it the ability to break down light. As well, it has solar panels that are the size of a pin's head or less, than that and can generate millions and millions of watts of energy. 17. As Nibiru passed by various suns or stations set up in the galaxy, Nibiru drew from them. Nibiru was set up for holographic interdimensional transport and manned over 140 and 4,000 crew members headed by 420 elite beings called Yawayans, 12 agreeable and 12 disagreeable that stood 7 feet tall. However, on this flight, the craft Nibiru had to pass by the planet Ea, which means he whose house is water, and is now called Neptune, as it did many times before. The planet Ea, Neptune, is a twin planet to the planet Anu, Uranus. By twin planet, I mean Neptune is very similar and in some aspects identical to the planet Uranus. The planet Uranus was originally called Kalkab, Shanama, the planet which is the double. The gases are made up the atmosphere of Ea, Neptune, and Anu, the heavenly one, Uranus, are exactly the same. And the size of Ea, Neptune, and Anu, Uranus, are similar. Their colors are identical, and their rotational times are similar. The planet Anu, Uranus, practically rotates laying down. So the size, if looked at from the wrong angle, can surely be mistaken. As Nibiru came nearer to Ea, Neptune, its gravitational pull caused electrical storms on that planet on that Friday afternoon at 1300 hours of Earth time, some 24 billion years ago of Earth time, and caused Nibiru to go slightly off its orbit. As the craft Nibiru passed by Ea, Neptune, the planet Anu, Uranus came from behind the planet Neptune, and it caused the appearance of a bulge. And the bulge pulled on Neptune's orbit and caused the great ship Nibiru to begin to wallop in its orbits for fear of a crash. 30. The planet Anu, Uranus, was not originally seen in the solar system when Nibiru made its first visits. Its moving from behind Neptune caused Nibiru to veer off his own original path in order not to hit Anu, Uranus, and collide into another planet called Maldek. The original name for the planet Vulcan is Maldek. Maldek is between Lamu, Mars, and Khishar, Jupiter. Maldek is 27,500 miles in diameter. Maldek has a population of billions living under the sea in the sub-cities of Kana and Vador. Maldek also have 2 moons. This was the planet of Mashmukia, or the troglodytes, dragons, and Balcheks. The troglodytes' average height is 3½ feet to 4½ feet, and their heads are extremely large. The troglodytes have 2 round eyes without pupils and no ears or protruding nose, just 2 small holes in the nose area. Their mouths are a slit without lips. The troglodytes are hairless and have no teeth. The troglodytes' hands have 4 webbed fingers and no thumb. The troglodytes live totally underwater in a great city with many great biologists. 4 ships equipped with high explosive created a plutonium from Maldek Starfleet called Ninga. Managed to escape Maldek, was Nibiru's pass by and followed in Nibiru's path. Because they live underwater, if the planet sped up, it wouldn't affect them. However, it was daylight, so most of the beings came on land. All of the beings that could have negotiated were dead. The only beings that survived were the ones under the seas, which were the military and the warriors who were looking for a chance to fight anyway. Nibiru had no way of contacting the beings on Maldek to let them know that it was an accident and not an attack. Telepathic communication was forbidden to prevent interference by other telepathic disagreeable beings. This was because the Maldekians were not part of the Interplanetary Confederation. Their star fleet of warriors, a group of reptilians who bore the symbol of the reptile, who called themselves Ninga, launched an attack. Thinking the planet Maldek had been attacked, 4 fighter ships of Ninga launched out, and these crashed from Maldek. It went off its orbit into the universe, attacked with the intentions of destroying Nibiru. Nibiru put up its 4 magnetic force fields and destabilized the 4 attacking ships. Nibiru created the magnetic cube called Kaaba. These 4 great ships Ninga fleet movement on as 4 powerful winds were trapped by Nibiru's force field and unable to break loose. Maldek is now referred to as the Lost Planet. The 4 fighter ships on the Ninga fleet, also called the North Wind, the South Wind, the East Wind, and the West Wind. These 4 fighter ships that originally surrounded Nibiru and appeared to launch an attack were now trapped. Nibiru, making one complete spin, threw them off into space. The ship Nibiru activated its 4 magnetic force fields, incapacitating these ships. All of their controls and equipment ceased to function. A force field was put up, and they were trapped into the environment of Nibiru, and its newly wobbly satellite were caught in Nibiru's gravitational pull and began to circle, making 4 whirlwinds. Nibiru immediately launched 2 ships to return to Ilium to inform the elders of the incident in case of the need of assistance. Nibiru proceeded on moving counterclockwise from the planets in the solar system. Nibiru pulled in towards Ansha, which means foremost of the heavens, now called Saturn, and kissed off the planet, which caused Nibiru to veer off its own orbit. The orbit that Nibiru was originally on was a 25,920-year orbit called AMS. It shifted into a new orbit of 30 and 600 years called Shar. Then Nibiru bounced off the planet Titan that surrounds Ansha, or Saturn, and sped up to its motion, creating the Saturn rings referred to as the necklace of Saturn. 67. At this point, Usmi, or Pluto, was released from its natural orbit around the sun and was pulled away into the direction of Lamu, Mars, and Lahamu, Venus. The path of Nibiru was now bent even more towards the center of the solar system, directly towards Tamat, which means mating of life, and now called Earth. 69. As it moved into your solar system, Nibiru caused problems amongst the other planets in its solar system by putting their moons. One of the 4 satellites that came with Nibiru from Maldek, called the North Winds, was lined directly for Tamat. Upon impact of the north wind, it caused Tamat to split into 2 parts because of the high explosive that the ship contained, called plutonium. The hole which the north wind bore in Tamat caused the upper ball of Tamat to wallop in its orbit, setting large portion of it on fire. The north wind then came back around, shattering that half into pieces, making comets. Halley's comets is one of them. And asteroids. Many of the pieces that caught on fire form the asteroid belt that is the center of the solar system. The east wind, another tremendous ship from Maldek, coming with Nibiru from Maldek, swung around and put a hole straight through the upper half of the planet. The planet Tamat had turbulence and was unstable, while other planets nearby were still wobbling in their orbits. Tamat was pulled into many directions by 2 larger planets, Lamu, now called Mars, and Kishar, foremost of the firmlands, Jupiter on one side. And the 2 similar planets, Lahamu, Venus, and Mumu, one who was born, Mercury, on its other side, all pulling and tugging. This alarmed the beings of Tamat that something was entering their atmosphere, causing volcanic eruptions, storms, hurricanes, and floods. Tamat was forced to launch 11 ships headed directly for this bright gleaming, which appeared to be a planet entering its airspace. It was Nibiru. This star fleet of 11 ships from Tamat was led by Kingu, the great emissary. The great ship Nibiru had 7 warships accompanying her, and they were launched at the 11 ships that were launched from Tamat. Kingu was the name of the head defense force of the Tamat, and later became the name of the imperfect place now called Yamun, which had become the companion planet of Tamat, Earth. The 11 ships which were launched from Tamat at Nibiru were immediately directed by the force field of Nibiru and eliminated. Nibiru's 7 ships broke off into 2 separate fleets, the first 4 circling the planet Tamat, which is now called Ki, creating a net-like web which was a magnetic field. 88. One of the 3 warships from the second part of the fleet of 7 from Nibiru, located on the outskirts of the force fields, then launched a bright flame of light, much like a ball of lightning. The ball lightning was filled with brilliance, and it burst straight down into Tamat. A portion of this massive ball of light, which was launched by one of the 3 warships of Nibiru, which was the west wind, and also called the evil wind, tore into the center, exploded, and gouged out a large hollow space in the center of Tamet. And the west wind became a tremendous 600-mile diameter sun, and was trapped in place there, with a sunscreen to protect the heat waves through the North Pole away from the planet, creating northern lights, what is called aurora borealis, which are solar flares and sun flares. The ball of light, now in the center of Tamet, was named Aspu, meaning one who exists from the beginning, and the place was named Ashara. 3 satellites launching off of Nibiru, creating a tetrahedron of energy at the 19.5-degree angle around the new half of Tamet, with the hole straight through it, and a smaller sun, also called Aspu, was placed inside Tamet's center. Now this newly formed planet, Tamet, now called Ki, was trapped in its orbit, protected by forces by the guidance of these ships, while she healed herself. This 100-mile diameter sun called Aspu traveled through the great hole called the abyss for a distance of 3,903 miles to the center of the half of the planet Tamet, which the west wind bore a hole through, was now called Ki. So it was indeed one of the satellites of Nibiru called winds from Meldeck that crashed into Tamet, and not Nibiru itself. The Voltex troglodytes that manned this ship that crashed survived and thrived in the seas of this new planet called Ki, or Gia, or Giye, or Gi, once called Tamet, which much later became known as Earth, starting the evolutionary process. This newly formed planet Ki was trapped in its orbits, protected by forces by the guidance of these 4 ships. Now the last of the winds, the south wind, crashed into Ki and created the Grand Canyon, and gave birth to another small planet in its own orbit, and rotated around this newly formed planet Ki, which became Sheshki, the moon, creating a lunar orbit. The upper half, which became oval-shaped after the moon had broken away, was now 7,906 miles in diameter, and 896 miles in circumference, and was set for replenishing or restoration on the part of the great star fleet responsible for its damage. Now, this new planet had 2 suns, one in its belly, 3,903 miles from its surface, creating an inner tropical environment, and the other sun was 93 million miles away from Ki's surface. Ki was now trapped in a new orbit around the outer sun to create a year of 365 days. Thus, a new time zone was created for this planet, the south wind crashing onto Tamet and creating a black dust cloud that cut off Earth from the sun. So now you have 2 sets of planets separated by this asteroid belt, creating the inner and outer planets. The inner planets were Mumu, Mercury, Lahamu, Venus, Ki, Earth, Shetsky, Moon, Lahamu, Mars. The outer planets were Kishar, Jupiter, Anshar, Saturn, whose planet is Titan, Anu, Uranus, E, and Neptune. And now Gaga, Plato, previous called Ushmi, separated by this asteroid belt, and the lost planet Maldik. So one half of the original Tiamat is an asteroid belt, and the other half is presently your planet called Earth. Why do?